Introducing Instagram Teen Accounts, a new way to keep your teen safer as they grow, like making sure they always have their seatbelt on.
All right, buckle up. Good job.
New Instagram Teen Accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome to News from the Crabby Coffee Shop with your host, Dawn McClain, from the adventures of Bradley and Dawn on My Talk 1071, Garage Logic's newsman, Mr. FYI, John Haidt, and the crabbiest guy in the coffee shop, Kenny Olson.
Betty bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it'll make my batter bitter, but a bit of better butter will make my batter better. Then she bought a bit of butter better than the bitter butter. Made her bitter batter better. So 'twas Betty bought a bit of better butter.
Not bad. Not
Good
bad.
job, Kenny.
Yeah, not bad.
He's practicing his auctioneer skills.
Wow.
If you missed last week's episode, we had an amazing guy on teaching us the real deal about being an auctioneer.
Mr. Hallberg from the Continental Auctioneer School.
I found that online and printed it out. And about just once a day, I'm not taking it too seriously, but once a day, I'll try to stumble my way through it. That might be my best effort yet.
Yeah.
Because I felt the pressure of the open mic and the camera the unforgiving camera staring at me. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Ross.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, John. How are you?
Uh-oh. Where's John? Where's John?
Can we explain what happened here? We had to have a scheduling change on my part, so John couldn't be here today. So apologies on that, but thank you to you two.
Yeah.
Have either of you tried to access yet the link that the wonderful auctioneer school sent us as a thank you from them?
Yeah, that's very nice.
I have not yet. I wholeheartedly intend to here over the weekend because I do have some time and I'm really looking forward to working through those exercises.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Could be some extra income for Ross in the future if he really nails it.
Totally.
Oh,
yep.
you think you're going to branch into that?
He totally could.
Absolutely not.
Kenny, come on. Ross could be a good auctioneer.
Maybe you should just work on your on-air skills first.
I started doing a bit. Well, by starting, we did it once. We might do it more on another podcast that I'm on where they give me a scenario. And I'm basically a politician's press secretary, and I turn it around.
Oh, sure.
So the last one was basically somebody in the parking lot was caught kicking puppies, and then I had to turn that around to make it sound not so horrible.
Sounds like they're ripping off a bit from GL. Maybe they should try to branch out and do something a little more creative that they come up with on their own than instead of ripping it off from GL, who, of course, we ripped it off from Steve Allen. So
I was just going to say everybody rips everything
Nobody's
off.
doing anything honestly anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But Bridget McCutcheon is.
Yes.
She is so infectious. I love watching what on Facebook they call reels.
Yes.
Because even if you're crabby, by the time her little video segment is done, you're laughing with her because she's such a nut. Did you find that, Ross?
I did. Do you want to hear her most recent update from 10-ish hours ago?
Yeah.
Where is she,
that.
first of all? Or does she say?
Germany, I think. Yeah.
Here we go.
Outside of Munich, and today we'll be going back to Frankfurt and Kawasaki to retrieve my motorcycle. It was getting serviced, and she's going to have new tires, new fork seals, new spark plugs, a bunch of stuff. Was taken care of. I'm excited. I'm wearing my shoes because it's very cold, and I don't have most of my gear with me.
She's at a campground.
There's Kiva. She is also cold.
Who's walking up
Hi, Kiva.
from the distance over her shoulder.
Just gonna wait.
And this is where she just gets in the
They do look miserably cold, by the way.
But she's so jolly, you know? She's just a happy person.
It's something you admire or
Yeah.
aspire to?
Yeah, I wish I could be like that.
Okay.
It's got to have something to do with her age, right, Dawn? She's not beat down like the rest of us.
And some people come from families where they look at everything in a jolly way, but we weren't raised with that.
Yeah, no, not optimistic. We were told how awful we are and how we're not going to amount to anything.
No, it's not like, let's look on the bright side. It's like, you know what? You feel bad now because of the wildfires down here, but it's way worse in Canada. You know what I mean?
And
That's
just you
the
wait.
attitude. Yeah.
Won't be long and Ohio will be on fire.
Right. That's the kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And then you feel guilty for feeling bad, and it's a
Yeah.
whole cycle.
Eat your Brussels. There's kids starving somewhere.
That's right.
What would that be? What's this thing?
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to give out her website, but it's got those weird lines in it.
Oh, way to come out of left field there.
Okay.
Ross.
A bike will travel. I think you just find her that way.
It's twowheelsround.com, but it's got the little lines
Dash?
in it.
Yeah.
Is that a dash?
I think so.
Okay.
It's either an underscore or a dash.
It's a dash.
Oh, or an equal sign?
No, it's a dash. 2-wheels-round.com.
Okay.
She's always, it sounds like I'm schlepping for her, but what she's doing isn't cheap. So if you got a few bucks,
True.
throw it her way.
Yes, she's trying to travel the world on her motorcycle. That's, if you don't know
And
Bridget.
so far, so good.
She's doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our other Wisconsin badass gal, Kennedy Swan, we had her and her dad on, what was that, April?
Yes.
It was before the season started. And she had been, her plan was to move out of the B mods, and she was a champion in that class, won a track championship, and won a lot of races. She moved out of the B mods into the regular A mods, and she's been having a tough go of it.
Okay.
And I don't consider myself of any importance, but I think I somehow jinxed her.
Oh, did you? No.
Remember we were talking about, I wanted to know how she was rotating, how she was getting through the corners, if she was steering with the throttle or if she was using her brakes. And she said, well, it's a combination of throttle and brakes, so you're using them both. And for the first month or so, she had a lot of problems with her brake setup and was having a lot of problems, what we call rotating, going, turning left in these corners. She finally got that solved, and now she's doing a lot better. So the last, I'd say, week and a half, she's been really good. But if you're out and about this weekend, anywhere in Wisconsin or up by Duluth, she's got a pretty busy schedule. It's starting tonight at ABC Speedway. That's in Ashland, Wisconsin. You can see Kennedy run there. Friday and Saturday, she's at a track called Gondik Law Speedway. It's in Superior, Wisconsin. Great little track. 2-day program there. Sunday, she's in Proctor, Minnesota, which is just north of Superior. And then on Monday, she's back at her home track, Rice Lake. So a very busy weekend for Kennedy Swan. If you're in the area and if you have interest in that, go find her.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're always here to support our women in sports.
Kenny, let's say worst case scenario happens, you wreck one of those bad boys. How much work is going to go into it, and how much time before you can get it back on the track?
It's a 3-man job, anywhere from 8 hours to 8 days.
That's what I thought.
I mean, she wrecked. She had a really bad wreck last fall, and it took them, I think, a week to fix the car.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to strip virtually everything out of it, so all you have left is the cage, the frame, and you have to bring it to the guy that made it, and they have to put it in their jig and make sure it's straight. Sometimes the crashes are that bad, and then you have to go put everything back on the car. So, yeah, it can be a long.
This past weekend, I was at the Henry Ford Museum of Innovation, and there is this big area of the museum on cars and literally any type of vehicle, right? And there's a racing section, and there is a video that plays, Kenny, that talks about some of these cars and how quick a fix can be, or how quick they have to get a car ready before the next race, and then even how long it can take to get one road ready. And Kenny, maybe I know you've watched these videos where people are racing cars up and around Pikes Peak.
Oh my gosh.
So cool.
Yeah.
And so terrifying at the same
that sounds
time.
like a really, really scary.
They do this like aerial shot, like with a drone, where if you took a corner too fast and went flying off of Pikes Peak,
Yeah.
and
Oh, come on.
your stomach literally
Jeez.
just stinks.
Why do they have to do that?
Or it's not stinks, it sinks into
Stinks.
your. Well, it does stink actually if you go flying off that. But
No.
if you're in the area and it's not just cars at the Henry Ford Museum, it's literally everything.
Where is it?
Just outside of Detroit. I think it's in
okay.
Dearborn, Michigan.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Really, really cool stuff. So if anything like that tickles your fancy, you should check it out. It was
cool.
It was really cool. And Kenny, did you know, this is more of a John thing, so sorry to do this without John. The car that JFK was allegedly assassinated in by allegedly Lee Harvey Oswald on his own.
Yeah.
Did you know that vehicle was still used by 4 more presidents after the fact?
Are you kidding me?
I'm serious.
What?
Can you imagine going to...
No.
Can you imagine being LBJ and they're like, oh, by the way, sir, the car's ready. It's been cleaned. I would look at them and go, you want me to do what?
No. We're going to scrap that.
It was LBJ, Jimmy Carter, Richard Nixon, and somebody else. But basically the 4 presidents right after that, all in some way, shape, or form used that car.
Oh, my gosh.
I would want nothing to do with it.
No. I'd be like, I'm not riding in that. Get something else. Get a cab before I ride in that. That's crazy.
Okay, the other guy we've been following along with is this character we had on, Mike Adkinson. Remember the tractor trip for Parkinson's guy?
Yes, yes.
This guy has been a lot of fun to follow on Facebook because he's a good old boy. He's not media savvy, and I think all the updates he does on his telephone, he must do on his telephone because there's almost no punctuation. And the spelling is kind of suspect, and the way it's just all one big long paragraph with a few random periods thrown in, no commas. But it's a lot of fun following him, and he actually drove that thing through Yellowstone, the park.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he came out in West Yellowstone, then drove north and then west again over by Ennis, Montana. This is on the far western southwestern border of it would be Montana and Idaho, and then he went up north to Kalispell and up there, and as of a couple of days ago he had left Kalispell and was heading towards Washington.
Okay.
So if you want to follow this guy Mike, he's quite a character. At one point he lost his phone. It jiggled out of his pocket and fell out on the highway.
Oh, no.
So he's in a bar, and he borrows a cell phone for somebody else, calls some gal he knows in Washington State. She's able to pinpoint his phone.
Sure.
Some locals bellied up to the bar next to him, hear all this.
Oh.
They volunteer to go out and find his phone.
Oh, this is lovely.
I love this.
And
And
it's like a Find My iPhone thing. I love that.
Yeah, and
I
it's
do it in
just-
my house all the time.
You don't call it? Do you have somebody call it?
I always have it on silent because, broadcasting. And so any phone
Right.
call that comes through, it does not make a sound or even vibrate.
Right.
And so I miss a lot of phone calls. But
Yeah.
either way, yeah, I have to do the whole thing where it chimes no matter what. And then I'm like, oh, it's in the refrigerator. Anyway, go on.
So anyway, they go out and find his phone. What I've learned a lot about Mike is he and we knew this when we talked to him. He really likes bars. He is a big fan of drinking,
Okay.
especially beer. But he'll sit down in any bar along the way, and he does that frequently. So he's a really fun follower. And there's a big long story about him losing his tractor and finding it, and then a nice big long story about his time in Kalispell.
I made a donation to his cause,
Aw.
and I got a legitimate thank you email from him. And
Aw.
you guys will get a kick out of this. The thank you email simply just said, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Sure. Good. That's all you need.
No, and I
Yeah.
didn't even need that, but
No.
it did make me chuckle.
Yeah,
He
that's
did
funny.
he gave us a plug on Facebook right after he was on. And I don't remember when that was, when we had him on. It was, April, May?
It all runs together.
And somehow he found me on Facebook, too, which I thought I was unfindable. But he evidently found me, and I think he tried to,
Send you a
talk
friend
to me.
request. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
I shut that. No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah. I get it. I don't. I don't do Facebook anymore.
So there's
May was when we had Mike on.
May?
If that matters to you.
And hopefully this isn't too much work for you. But can you, since like if you just joined us and you don't know who we're talking about, hopefully Ross, you can put some links to their pages on our.
Yes.
Everybody
we've talked about, I will link.
Thank you so much. I know that's
people.
a little bit of extra work for you, just because if people don't know who we're talking about, they can go back and try to find them.
Dawn, anything for you within reason, anything for Kenny.
Okay. All righty.
So there's been this story that's been going around for a week or so now, and it reminded me of, me. And then since it came out, I've been wondering about you, McLean.
Okay.
Because I've had a number of what I call real world jobs. And I've screwed up and made some pretty serious mistakes in these real world jobs. And the story that's been going around is this janitor who was working in some sort of research lab. There was an alarm going off for a freezer. It was driving him crazy. Jesus. So he shut down the freezer.
No. What is it? What's in there?
More than 20 years of research was ruined at this upstate university, upstate New York University.
God. What?
Because he shut off this freezer due to annoying alarms. And to make it worse, the people there, I guess they'd be scientists, have put up signs on what you do when the alarms start going off.
They did that before, so those were up.
There were big signs.
Oh,
up.
God.
And this, by the way, happened in 2020, as far as I can tell, but it's just coming to light now.
Because they're still pissed.
Because they're in court.
Oh,
they're in court
shoot.
now.
Oh,
and they're suing for over $1 million in damages to the company that the janitor worked for. I'm sure we're not supposed to call him a janitor. We're supposed to call him something.
Is he a security, like overnight security?
No, he's a janitor.
Okay, all right. Oh, man. Oh.
So, yeah, and of course he's ashamed and he's sorry, but it doesn't change the fact that he just destroyed over 20 years of research, and these cells or whatever they were keeping in the freezer were highly susceptible to any kind of temperature change whatsoever.
Oh my God, this is so sad. But, the guy doesn't have $1 million. I'm sort of like, it's stupid that he did that, but I'm feeling for him and I'm kind of on his side. If it's that important to you, then you need to have somebody overnight manning it that isn't the janitor.
Shouldn't there be more protocols in place?
My lawyer, if I were the janitor, would be like, yeah, don't leave it in charge for a janitor. Like a simple sign, if it's that important to you, you should be on call 24/7.
The company he works for, it's an outside company that comes in and does the cleaning. So that's the people they're suing. They're not suing the janitor himself.
Him in particular.
Right.
Right. Still.
So I'm working this job, and I started at this company as a driver, just delivering stuff, because I wanted to be left alone. I didn't want to have any public contact. I didn't want to hang out with employees. Well, they pulled me off the road and said, we need you in the photo developing lab. And so I would have to process film, and then I would have to take slides, which are called in that world positives, and I'd have to digitally scan them and turn these positives into a digital image. So I'd hand them back a disc, right?
Sure.
But this part of the job, like I said, was developing film. There's two kinds of processes. We have C41, that's for developing negatives, the kind of pictures we take, right?
Sure.
The other one is called E6, and that's for developing positives, slides. Okay. Two different processes. You with me here?
I'm scared. Yes.
Yeah.
I can already see
There's
where this is going.
only two options, but I'm already confused.
Our biggest client, I mean the biggest client without a doubt, was a guy named Bill Lindner. He took professional photos of fish underwater. He's part of the Lindner fishing family that people from Minnesota and the Midwest know. They know his brother Al.
Yeah, if you're into it, sure.
So Bill would, after a shoot, they would either be in his tank at his studio or out in the wild.
No.
Would drop off a S-ton of film, both negative, C41, and positives, E6. Guess what I did?
What?
I had become so, damn, I'm good at this job. Like that.
Sure. You should never be that way.
Ever.
It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Ever, or for how long you've been doing it. This was a valuable lesson. I either processed some E6 and C41 or C41 and E6. I mixed them up. I didn't look at them. I went into the wrong dark rooms. I set it up, processed the whole thing, didn't notice till they came out of the dryer, and I'm looking at them going, oh, my God.
Oh, man.
I had to call my boss and tell him what I did. My boss had to call Bill and tell him what we did.
Shoot.
Bill wasn't happy, but he wasn't super upset. I don't think he did a lot of yelling and screaming. I didn't lose my job, but within 6 months, Bill wasn't using the studio anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And that's your fault.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, my gosh.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
you should never be. I'm not saying to you, I'm just reminding myself, never be so cocky to think that you don't have something else to learn and you need to freaking pay attention to what you're doing.
It's, oh my God, it still to this day makes me sick. And this was, I'm going to say 2000 or early 2001. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Boy, I can't think of something that I've done that is that scary. But I would like to say this. When people say, if you could go back in time and be anywhere, like, oh, when Lincoln was shot or whatever, the Emancipation Proclamation signing. I don't want to do that. I want to go back into little moments like Kenny, probably with earrings and long hair, discovering a little camera to see his face for the first time, realizing that he screwed up this bad. These are the kind of things that I want to see and be in the room for. Not because I enjoy seeing people in pain, but that moment is like, the sinking feeling when you realize you just deleted an entire podcast that you just recorded or something like that, or something as crazy as this.
Yeah.
It's that moment where I love that the look on people's faces.
There is a certain comedic element to massive F-ups.
Yes.
And sometimes when they go, I don't know, long enough past, maybe it's been days, months, or years, and you can start to realize the comedy in it. Some are easier than others, though. I got a couple quick ones for you. Back in the day, probably about the same time frame as you, Kenny, with your camera mishap, I was working at a shipping store where we shipped out stuff for UPS, FedEx, DHL, or at the time it was Airborne Express, neither here nor there. I ruined a family's Christmas because we would take packages in and send them out, right?
Yeah.
And you would have to ship them or pack them up, ship them, yada, 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 hence the name of the business. I took somehow, and it was a very loose process, but the wrong names got assigned with the wrong packages.
Oh, yeah.
So I sent an entire family's Christmas packages that should have went to like California to Arizona, and the ones that should have went to Arizona went to California. And as the story goes, one of the families then had no Christmas presents because I
my God.
sent them to the wrong place.
Oh.
And I still do feel bad about that to this day, but there is another one that directly...
Can't you just blame the computer or something? Just you've got to be able to place blame in those situations.
I think that one was pretty apparent that somehow I had screwed up the shipping labels, if I remember correctly. I got one that directly relates to Garage Logic, Kenny, that you'll remember well, but actually had a mildly happy ending.
Does it involve me?
No.
Because I had a bad episode this week, and I don't want to talk about it.
No, we won't.
All right.
The one that I'm going to talk about goes back to like my 2.5 stint here at Hubbard. Anybody own or remember the University of Fighting Stogies fiasco from about 4 or 5 state fairs ago?
That was your fault.
idea.
That was my fault, and it turned out to be great because they sold better than the actual correct ones.
There's a logo that says University of the Fighting Stogies, and the Stogies, it's the mascot, and it's, I don't know what it is, but it's smoking it's an animated cigar, right?
Yes.
It's a cigar with a face on it. And the arc logo over the top is supposed to say University of or whatever, and instead it says University. University is spelled wrong.
So the I and the T basically got flip-flopped.
And nobody, including Ross, noticed and these things were out on the market for a few days.
I think it was 7 or 8 days, Kenny, before we caught it.
Before some smart-ass, know-it-all, mansplaining GLer sent us the funniest email in the whole wide world.
Good.
Oh, I don't even know this part.
And I'm pretty sure Such read the email on the air, and we all had a really good laugh about it. And then, as it turns out, of course, anything where there's a typo, these things turned out to be collector's items.
This thing, too, on the front end, went through. So Dan Seaman, our big boss, calls me up and says, hey, can you walk over and look at that University of Garage Logic Fighting Stogie shirt?
Yeah.
And so at this point, I know something's up.
Sure.
So I stare at it and I go, what's wrong? And he goes, read University and then spell it out. And I do that and I just go, I think I literally on the phone with Big Boss went, oh, F, except I didn't say F. I think the entire word came out.
Oh, sure, whatever.
And this is the wonderful human side of Big Boss Man. He just goes, I don't want you to worry about it. You missed it. I missed it. The designer missed it. The printer missed it. Everybody missed it. But then we're like, well, what do we do with all these dang shirts? Didn't matter because an hour and a half later, all anybody wanted was the misspelled shirt.
Of course they do. Because that's the worst word in the whole sentence to misspell. University, a place where you learn.
Yeah, like misspelling school.
So it worked out, but I tell you what, you guys, for 20 minutes, I felt awful, terrible. I felt like an inch tall, and I think Big Boss Man knew that and tried pumping me back up. But it was awful,
guy.
But it turned out to be hilarious.
And Dawn, by collector's items, I mean, if you paid $49 for it new, it's now worth $39. So,
oh, sure.
And that's what I mean by collector's item. So, yeah. You sit on that for a few years, GLers. Maybe you'll get your money back out of it.
My gosh. Wow.
All right. We're going to have a huge argument when we come back.
Self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit managerbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
We've got to turn that crap off. We've got to do something about this. I don't want to hear any GL music on this show anymore.
You gonna say that to Dylan's face?
Yeah, no, I'll send you some music. No, there's nothing wrong with the music except that I hear it all the time on GL, and I don't need that kind of flashback right now.
Okay. Fair point.
Well, we have to use things that, of course, because we can't.
Right,
we don't pay for licenses to music.
I've got some buddies in bands, and they've given me permission, and I just haven't followed through.
Nice.
So
I can pretend to play the harmonica. I mean, I don't know how, but anyway. Let's get into this story here.
So, and this concerns probably the only channel that I really, 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 really love on TV.
And that is Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah.
So I found this article. It is a fresh air. It's actually, you can listen to it. David Bianculli did this article. The title is, If You Love Film, You Should Be Worried About What's Going On at Turner Classic Movies. And he goes on to say that, Turner Classic Movies, the way it is perfect. Don't mess with it. Do not change anything. You get delightful, everybody knows the classic movies, black and white movies, and then in between all of these little really informative breaks about costuming or what was going on at the time.
Lighting,
and it's like, wow, I'm really learning something here. It's just so interesting for nerdy people about film.
There was a great series of documentaries about movie making on overnight last night. I recorded all of them. Yeah, so it's just a lot of really, really fun movies that go all the way back to the silent era and all the way into, I'm going to say, the late 80s and early 90s.
Right, and this is the brainchild of Ted Turner, as we know, Turner Classic Movies. But now we have David Zaslav coming on board from Warner Brothers Discovery. So it's all wrapped up into if you have Discovery Plus, you get TCM in there as well. Yeah. Well, things are changing. He pretty much fired everybody in the UK office. That doesn't exist anymore, and replaced a lot of people for no apparent reason other than, I just want my people in there that usually curate the movies and make all of this happen. Well, now we have Steven Spielberg, Ben Mankiewicz still there, I hope.
Yep, Ben's still there.
He's still there, and he does a lot of the hosting. And then, you have Scorsese, and you have
I think
Paul
it's
Thomas Anderson.
Yeah,
Paul
I think
Thomas
so.
Anderson, which
Along
I
with-
love. I love him. And, these are giants in the industry, but they're going to be making decisions on what to curate.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like now it's buried in, unless you just have the TCM service or watch it on cable, your streaming opportunities have really been buried down at the bottom. Like you can't find it. They're also just putting up stuff that's, a lot of stuff that's like the 70s movies that are in color, and it feels like to the writer here that it's going to be really going down the crap hole. There you go.
Zaslav has promised both the staff, the on-air staff, and the people that are actually left at TCM that he didn't blow out of there, has promised them that there are going to be no perceivable on-air changes, and the only changes will be for the good. And like you said, he brought in Spielberg, Scorsese, and Anderson. And I saw one of them. I think I saw the Spielberg segment, and it went by me so fast that I missed the plug. Because Scorsese and Spielberg, they're there to talk about, like, say, the 3 movies they picked out for that night's movie matinee, right?
Yeah.
And they're talking to Ben Mankiewicz, which was a great guy, super knowledgeable.
Love him, yes.
But they're also getting a plug-in for their latest movie.
I know.
And that...
It's like, I was inspired by these 3 movies to make my movies that you can see now in theaters.
So, and I don't know how to feel about that. I don't like the creepy, slimy, greasy part of that.
Yeah.
Because we know what's actually happening. It's actually just a promotion for his movie buried within, what he likes. Part of me likes that because I like to know what the inspiration is. And sometimes the only guy that's really super, super obvious is Quentin Tarantino. You can watch a movie of his and go, oh, yeah, okay, so that scene is a tribute to, some old. But a lot of times with Spielberg and Scorsese, you don't realize that. So I found that interesting. And the other thing, I've actually been following the story since I looked. It was the middle of last week that I sent this email to myself about this. Mm-hmm. He called in all the on-air talent to his office, and he promised them all ahead of time that TCM is always on in my office, always on. And of course, when they got there, it was on, and he told his secretaries and people in the office, support staff, that make sure you tell these guys it's always on in my office, and I really love it. So he claims to really, really, really love the channel, and he claims there won't be a lot of discernible differences, but we know his history. We know what he's been doing.
Yeah.
And TCM has been undergoing these changes for the last few years because they keep getting peddled. They keep getting sold. Now it's somebody else that's buying.
Yeah.
Now it's Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Now this asshat is in charge, and he has a rich history of firing people and shutting offices down and changing things because he's worried about the bottom line.
Yeah, he's making deals. He's wheeling and dealing with, people that are in the upper echelon of film. It's just like, oh, I'll get you in and do this, and then we'll promote. It's gross.
And it really makes us nervous because one of the articles I read covered this. I am a fanatic about TCM. Seriously, fanatic. I always know what's showing today and tonight, and I always check it, and I'm always rolling tape. Sometimes I don't make it 5 minutes through a movie. Sometimes I discover a movie I've never heard of that's just the most wonderful thing I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And it's so good, and I would say we are probably more passionate about TCM than sports people are about ESPN.
Oh.
That's how sick. That's how bad I have it with TCM. So we don't trust this guy.
No, absolutely not.
But I really want to because Ben does. And the other hosts
maybe
do.
Ben is pretending to.
Do you think he would do that? Ben seems like the guy that would.
I know that we think that Ben just does this out of the goodness of his heart, but Ben also gets paid. You know what I'm saying? And the person writing the checks, even though he has, of course, he's a legend because of his family history within the movie industry, which is obvious. But he also, bottom line is that that's his boss. That's his boss now. So what are you going to do?
I expect everybody to treat their boss the way I treat my boss.
Yeah.
which is absolutely horrible. I mean, let's face it. He's a bean counter.
Yeah.
He doesn't know talent. He doesn't know what's good. He knows what sells.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on. And and I'm probably the only person in this business that's honest enough to tell people that.
Yeah, and I think that what we're probably talking about here is the loss of just things that are pure and not based on any type of agenda,
Right.
People not trusting just the ability of talented people who have done nothing wrong in their job but
Ever.
put out a supreme product, and
Yeah.
then just for no reason whatsoever, because somebody is money hungry or
Yeah.
they want to change things just for their own ego,
Right.
you're losing good people that did nothing wrong.
Right.
That's who I feel for, not
Yeah.
necessarily me, who can't just turn it on and go, oh, I've never watched that before. It's like having a radio station that's now like top 40 hits. That's what it's going to turn into.
How many bosses, executives, and program directors, and general managers have we known throughout the years that have destroyed either a format or a radio station or just the vibes? And I'm not just talking about HBI. I'm talking about all the radio corporations across the country. KQ used to be one of the best places in the whole wide world to work. Not so much anymore. You know what I mean? And Tom has talked about this live, actually, with us on GL. And it's like that across the board with all sorts of different radio stations. And the reason I think we're different is at HBI is because of who's at the top, who's upstairs.
That's so true.
She's amazing.
Yes.
And although I love to rip Dan has saved my ass so many times in the last 30 years. I mean, I first started working for him in the 90s.
Yeah.
And he's literally pulled me out of the wreckage and said, "Go to work. Here you go."
Yeah. Absolutely. He's
But I also, out of the other side of my mouth, I rip him,
Well, that's just for fun, and the great thing is that he doesn't not take that personally. I'm working here, and I'm probably most satisfied with the management here that I have been any other place. But that doesn't mean I don't want more money. I just want to put that out there in case they're listening. I'm not kissing your ass.
We always, you're paying me half what I'm worth, Dan. Let's go here.
No. But seriously, they're really, they see you as a person and not just like, what can you do for me?
My weird analogy is employees are pit bulls and management is their owners. You encounter a mean, nasty, ugly pit bull that wants to rip you from limb to limb. It's a reflection of their owner.
Yeah.
I've known pit bulls that have just been the most sweetest, wonderful dogs you'll ever meet. More friendly than a lab. And it's a reflection of their owner.
There was a very high-ranking person here who came up to me one time and literally just said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I immediately went into work mode where I said, "Oh, we're working on this. We got this going on. We're hoping to have this launched." And they literally said, "No. How are you doing?"
You've got to be talking about the chairman. Are you?
Yeah, we'll say that.
Okay, so I'm walking out. I know there's a million stories about the chairman like this. He's an amazing person. I'm walking out to my truck one day through the garage where he usually parks. The garage door is open. It is pouring rain. I mean, really hard. He's standing there watching the rain. And he goes, "You want to use my umbrella? It's really coming down." And I'm like, "Really? No, if I parked right there, I'm going to get a little wet, but no big deal. But thanks for the offer."
Nice. Yes.
And that's that trickle down thing that I'm
100%.
talking about. And that's why I really want to believe Ben Mankiewicz.
Oh, that he has...
that maybe he knows something we don't.
Yeah, maybe he does. So we'll just trust Ben. I think that's a good way to put
But
it. We're already mad and nothing's happened.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
need
just
that on a
it.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm already mad and nothing's happened yet.
State Fair's right around the corner.
Right.
I'm already mad. Yeah. I don't even know why. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, or just I'm already mad.
Anyway, if something does, I'm always mad. Maybe that should be mine.
Yeah.
Always angry.
Yeah, yes.
But you're right. If something does happen and something changes, I'm going to go ballistic. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shoot my mouth off about it. Then I'm going to boycott them.
And then you're going to suffer, and nothing's going to happen. Yeah. It's just the way the world works nowadays.
That's all I've got in me for today.
Me
Is that
too.
enough?
Yeah, that's enough, I think. Yeah.
Let's be gone. See if you can kiss this post on.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for joining us on News from the Crabby Coffee Shop. You can download all the other episodes at garagelogic.com. Not quite.
Not your best work.
Thanks for listening to News from the Crabby Coffee Shop. New episodes drop every week wherever you get your podcasts.